basically trying to make all this stuff make sense and everything normal a little bit. So we're showing everybody to pack these things right at a hook, okay? Reason being is all of our cross lays and even how we're loading the 2.5 and everything else, it's a 6-foot bundle whenever it falls on your shoulder. So why not make your spare bundle the same thing? And then we always pull this off. It goes on my right shoulder, so let's orient the strap. So if it's on my right shoulder and I'm carrying it with the nozzle towards my body, whenever I go to dump this off, I'm gonna do what? So whenever we put it together, make sure the straps stay on that side, so whenever you dump it down, the straps are easy to get off. We include in the reducer that you just got, as well as a hose strap tool. Reason being is anytime that we go extending lines, sometimes that seems to coincide with going vertical. Anytime you go vertical, you got to secure the hose, because if not, when you charge it, it's going to run back down the stairs on you. So that's the reason it gets included in that bundle. So does that make sense? So somebody will bear with me, and we'll throw this together right quick. So just start tip on the inside of that hook, and don't let the folds go beyond it, and then we'll just weave back and forth. So here's your 50-foot mark. Whenever you get there, let that stick out about 3 inches so that my center is easily identifiable. And then from there we'll just strap it together. Y'all have to fold this to put it in a compartment. I would recommend finding a way to get it in that belly compartment over top of the wheel well, because it's wider, it'll make your life a little bit easier. If you have to fold it, don't put both straps on it and then try to fold it and put it in a compartment. It doesn't work real well. Put one strap on the end, go ahead and put your natural curve in it before you put it up, and then strap the other side. That way this side stays pretty, because I'm always oriented to it, and it still fits in my compartment okay whenever I fold it up goofy. We'll roll this over, because like right now, if I was to pick this up the way that I'm supposed to, my straps are going to be on the inside. So whenever you build it, if you throw the nozzle the other way, it'll work out all right for you. Just come behind that couple and we'll throw one right there. Alright, so anybody that has a new something, this goes in the bumper. Alright, as long as they build it with the hook, it'll lay in there on top of the trash line, lid shuts, fits perfectly. You got to use the trash line, you grab 2 straps, pick it up, drop it on the ground, pull your trash line. And it just keeps you from having to fold this thing up goofy and put it in a compartment and eat up space somewhere else. Other things about this is just extending lines. That's all it is. And I use the analogy of Legos, because I think everybody in the world's played with Legos at some point in time. My truck's like Legos. I can take this piece and stack it on top of any other piece I want to at any point in time. So with the 1.88 hose, our friction loss went down to what? 20 per 100. So 300 feet of this is how much? 60. Yeah, so 110 is all I'm pumping this at, which is where we were with the apartment lays. We had 1.5-inch hose and 100 psi nozzles, and we were trying to make 300-foot lays, and then the pressure went up over 200. So now hopefully with technology we've gotten better, and we're able to do this a little bit differently without having to incorporate so much 2.5 and other things. The reasons for the reducers and everything else is we're taking out anything that was a failure point whenever we extend the line. Being extending off a nozzle, opening and closing the bail on the nozzle you're operating makes things move on that hose line. You've all seen that. And we've had it out here on the drill ground on asphalt without anything around, just by opening and closing, shut down a Y or shut down a nozzle. So we're taking all that out of play. So real quick, we can all sit here and go through in our heads. All right, I need 300 feet of 1 3/4. I nailed this on the end of either one of my cross lays, 300 feet, 1 3/4. I need 400 feet 1 3/4. I got a 300 foot 2.5 pre-connect. I nailed this on the end, 400 feet 1 3/4. I need 500 feet 1 3/4. All right, I take this, the shoulder load from 1 2.5, pull it on my shoulder, break the coupling, drag the other 300, nail the Legos together. Now I got a 500 foot 1 3/4. It's all linking blocked so that 95% of the time our pre-connects work. Okay, but that other little window of time, and y'all probably already know some places in your territory where, hey, I'm gonna have to lay a little bit more hose to get where I need to. All right, so here's our building blocks we need to put together, and that should be a thing we should be able to call pretty easy on the truck. Hey, we're gonna need to bundle on this. Somebody else pull the cross leg. Cool, we're getting 300 feet 1 3/4. See how that all kind of stacks together pretty quick? So hopefully that's what it is being able to adapt when we need to, but my truck's set up for the majority of the time when things work. So we'll run this 3 times. We'll run the stairs once, laying up the stairs and extending with this. We'll hang it vertical one time so everybody sees that, and then the 3rd time we'll run it back up the stairs with a 2.5, but we'll build a coil prop for those little bitty tight places where we don't have enough room to actually flake all this out. So we'll run through those 3. We'll leave the hose on the ground, like while we're redoing this bundle up top. I'll help you try to get it rolled, and at the end of it we'll put everything back on all at once. So hopefully all this will go pretty quick. Y'all want to go ahead and throw that other strap around that back, and we'll just have it somewhat ready to go. And just 2's fine. 3 sometimes okay. So whoever my nozzleman is, this is your job. Anytime we're extending it, the bundle's yours. Okay. So we pull up, we say, you know what, this is going to be one of those where we got the long lays. All right, cool. Nozzleman takes off and he's going to wherever he thinks he needs to lay out for the entry of the fire. That can be horizontal or vertical. It can be up either one. It could be 3rd floor of an apartment. But he's going to take this bundle, he's trying to find that fire room, and he's going to lay this out and go ahead and flake it. Once we get up there and we lay this down, I'll show you the easiest way to flake this in about 20 feet. If you've seen the videos, you may have already picked up on it a little bit. But we'll flake that out, and then whoever the backup is, it's your turn to pull the hose this time. So you get to pull one of the pre-connects. Just remember, anytime I'm going vertical and going stairs, we have a little thumb rule, 50 feet per floor. All right. So if I get to the bottom of those steps, I need to be down to how much hose lift on my shoulder? 50 feet, so that I can drop that coupling at the base of the steps, and I've got enough hose to get up a floor. If for some reason I'm going to run 2 flights of stairs, so I'm going to the 3rd, how much do I need on my shoulder when I start at the bottom? 100. So just the mindset of, let's look up and think just a little bit, and remember, if we slow down just a hair out here, it's going to make everything go better once we go inside. So be thinking as you're walking, don't just be, I'm walking. Be looking at where you're going. Am I going to the 2nd floor? Am I going to the 3rd floor? All right, I'm only going to the 2nd. It means I need to get rid of some hose before I get to those stairs to make sure I'm at the right spot. Does that make sense? All right, so whoever the nozzle is, grab that, go to the landing. Don't undo it until we all get up there. Whoever the backup is, grab your 1 3/4. We'll kind of walk through getting rid of some hose and then actually laying it up the steps. I don't care which crossway you pull. Yeah, we'll charge it after we get it laid out. We'll charge it the way we talked about before. We'll run the pressure up to about 110 and then send it down there. What you got and where you're at. So I'm already really close. So don't just do it one at a time while you're walking. Alright. And I'll help you out. Pull this off on your shoulder. Pull it forward a little bit more to make life a little bit nicer. Alright. So kind of make you a little arch so you can lose some hose. Alright, flaking on. Alright. So now just yep. Alright. Now just let it flake off as you're going up the stairs. Just look behind you every once in a while. Make sure it stays laid out. Alright, so one thing I'm going to do is try not to cause any problems, any kinks. Whenever we secure this, anytime we go vertical, secure. The only thing you got to remember about this hose tool is close side up. Alright, so go behind your nozzle, make sure that I wrap it so that it's closed up, and then pull it in the direction that I'm going to be having to lay it out. Hook it to something so that the things slide back down the hill. Not looking for anything overly complicated. This bumper, I want the nozzle going towards my door, because that's how I'm going to flick everything out whenever I get there to make it work. Alright? The other thing that we're reminding people is not only nozzle towards the door, but nozzle to your hinge side. If I go on any type of breezeway or whatever, I can't get 90 degrees to my door to make entry. If I come in, and this door is wrong, let's not pay any attention to it. Residential setting, which way the door swings. They all swing inward. If this door was swinging in, every door in an apartment building or anything like that typically is going to swing to a wall. Okay? So if I always lay out the hinge side, whenever the door opens, I can see 90% of the room. If I lay out to the doorknob side, whenever that door opens, what can I see? 2 feet of wall. And then my first move is almost a 180 trying to get in the door to begin with. So again, slow down just a second and think, if I got room on the hinge side of the door, let's make my attack from the hinge side. That way my life gets a little bit easier rather than harder. As far as flaking any of this out, you need 20 feet, okay? In 20 feet, you can flake out this entire bundle. So, nozzle towards the hinge side of the door. This is why we leave that little identifier there. Here's my middle. I'm able to grab that and see my center. Well, there's always going to show up if I build it with the hook and I build it 6 foot in length. 3 years, 3 years. So everybody can see 3. Grab the middle of your 3. Walk the other direction. Alright, so my whole bundle's flaked out, and the only thing I've got left to do is move a couple of things. So now we can go ahead and take that around and actually make the connection. Alright, so whoever my backup or my controlled firefighter is, just remember your job is any kinks from the truck to here. So while all this is happening, you're watching for kinks the whole time. Whether we like to admit it or not, fires go good because the backup guy does a really good job. If the backup guy doesn't do a good job, fires don't go well. So make sure I got all my kinks out and everything else. My backup will actually sit on that nozzle. He's got to squat down somewhere, get masked up and get ready anyway, right? Nozzleman, this is your position. I'm on this nozzle. I'm masking up. I'm getting ready. Officer's finishing his walk around. What he's got to do to meet up with us so we can go inside. Whenever we charge this, like I said, whoever's driving, run it up to 110. If the hose comes off your side of the truck, put your hand on it. Don't let it jump on its own. But whenever you get ready to send it, just pull it. It's not anywhere nearly as violent as what a lot of people have tried to make this out to be. It jumps a little bit at the truck and then it slows down and it just gets pressure downstream so it'll blow some of the kinks out. The other thing that we talk about, just to remind people of, if I'm the nozzle, wait for the pressure in the line to build up and knock the kinks out of it while I'm sitting here. And then the other things, and I'm as guilty as anybody, is whenever you get water to the nozzle, don't go and then go in the door. Anybody guilty of doing that? I am. Every time we charge a nozzle, we should make sure that we aim at one side or another, open it all the way up and count to about 5. Because that's going to let me know if I've got a stream I want to go fight fire with outside. It also allows my driver to see me flowing water and make sure the pressure's right. Because truth be told, you can't set pressure unless it's water's moving. Okay? So give them 5 seconds of flow so we can get that pressure right. Then we can shut the line down and go inside. Make sense to everybody? Alright, so we'll all stay in position. Let's go down there and whoever was driving, like I said, crank it, put it in gear, run it up to about 110. pull it and send the pressure down so we can all see what happens. This isn't an always and it isn't a never thing. If you're stretching a line dry into a building, never hard charge it, because then it can kick under anything and get jammed up. If you think that I'm in a situation where if I yank this, it's going to fly underneath the car and get bad, don't do it. If you see most of our fires, we have nice yards and we have streets to work on. If I've got the space, I can run it up to 110 and then pull it, and then it's going to blow all my kinks out along the way. As a driver, the only thing that you got to really be aware of is if it's the one coming off beside your head, before you pull that, put your hand on it. If I put my hand on it and then pull it, and then it'll blow a lot of these kinks out along the way. And you'll see by the time it gets here, it's not as violent as people are trying to make this out to be. A lot of this is I was taught the same thing, and everything's like ingrained in my mind. It's like, oh, I always charge this easy and then I run the pressure up smoothly, because that's the way I was taught. So it's kind of trying to get out of that mindset of that was what I was taught. Let's look and see if there is something different and if it actually helps or whether it hurts. So if you don't mind going and charging it like so the last couple things that we're reminding people of is another bad habit that I thought I was taught like early on. Like whenever I was like early out of this job, nobody told me any different. Like if I was lucky enough to get the nozzle, literally I did this. And then I went and gored. Anybody else ever do that? We're trying to remind people, it's like, hey, after you check and make sure you get the air out of it, especially on apartment complexes, you probably want to come this way. It's like, open this up and aim it out the end of it, and actually let it flow. Two things that I'm looking for. Is that a stream I want to fight fire with? And it also gives my driver a chance to actually set the pressure while the water's flowing. So, it's just a reminder. I'm not saying y'all were taught bad, I'm saying I was. So, if I aim it out the end of the apartment, my driver sees that I'm throwing water, he can bring the pressure down, bring it up, and then I know I've got a good stream to be able to go fight fire with. Does that make sense? Oh yeah. Let him get up here. We'll talk about what we're going to do next. It's just, like I said, coming up with like a method to the madness. It's like if I can identify hinges, lay to my hand side, always that nozzle forward, I can look at those loops. I'm always going to be able to find the center of the three on each side and just walk those backwards. I need what, like 20 foot to flake out 100 feet of hose, and it actually works pretty decent. Any complaints, any goofy thoughts or anything about that? The next thing that we'll do is actually hanging it vertical. And everybody knows your apartments. It's like I got units to the right, units to the left, breezeway down the middle. And we typically have access to the ends pretty well, but it's just handrails. So second floor handrail, third floor handrail. That's where this comes in, is being able to hang something vertical. So that's going to be like the end of the apartment handrail that we're going to work off of. What we're showing people is, if I'm the nozzle, by all means, if my cross lay works, just bring a rope up here, throw the rope down, just pull your section up. But this is my cross lay, I don't think it's long enough. So I've already got this up here anyway. Come up here, lay it the exact same way. Hinge slide, grab those middles, flake it, and then bring your female to the edge and throw it over the end. By that time, the cross lay should be there with the nozzle off. You screw the get two together, pull them up till you get the coupling back right, fasten it off. The reason that we say flake it before you run the female down, okay, is if I flake it out and then I bring my female, if for some reason, sometimes these apartments get rather long, right? If I flake it first, I can see how much hose I got. So if I run down and I run out of hose on the way down there, I'm gonna see it. That way I know whenever I start pulling up, hey, I need to pull a little bit extra. That way I can get my working length back so that I've got enough. You need at least 50 foot to cover an apartment. So I need to make sure I got at least 50 foot here at the door. I can see it if it's flaked out. I can't see it if it's all bundled up still. So flake it, come back, drop your female, pull it up. Same thing, whenever you secure it, we can secure it at the handrails if they're strong enough. Pick one side or the other, don't stay in the middle.
One problem I have with that, not a problem, should say that way, is if by any chance you need more than 50 foot, you're not going to be able to pull any more in because you got it locked in on that rail right there. If you get in where it's a big apartment, 3 bedroom, you got to get it back, you've limited yourself to exactly 50 foot, right? And even then, that's 15 feet from the door, so you've limited yourself to 35 foot in the door.
That's why we try to tie it off at 100.
And what?
Right now it's tied off at 100.
Oh, I got you. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So we're trying to tie off more than 50.
Right.
I'm saying, like, that's the reason to flake it beforehand, is if you get down to where you got less than 50, you're going to see it, because you're going to see how I had it flaked out. You're going to see that I ate all that up. I need to pull extra up before I tie it off.
Okay, I'm with you. My fault.
Who wants to build it? First thing, kick this one out back. That way you know where it is. Yep, knee. That's the analogy. I don't know what he told you down there, but that's the one most of us remember is knee me. And if you'll use your whole arm, let them go on back, because they're all going to come towards you like that.
Okay.
That makes sense? All right, now 2 arms in. Now, whenever you stand up, you want to step on the one that your nozzle is with 1 foot, and then step through the coil part with the other. So step through, and then bring it up against the wall. Now, he's going to charge it just like he's been charging everything else. Pull it. What this is going to do without your turnout coat on, you're going to feel it pinch the coat. Out here, he's going to feel it pinch his arms a little bit. So when this thing actually gets pressure up here to it and it starts charging, basically you're going to act a little bit like a chicken. You're going to flap your wings some. So if you do that, what it does is it allows the pressure to equalize around it, and just stay with it until everything gets completely charged. Then after everything gets charged, all you want to do is take the slide, push charge back just a little bit. Set it down. Alright, so whoever's going to play slack man, one thing, alright, you can let go. If I'm the slack man, the only thing I'm going to do is come up here and put my foot here on this. And then as we advance this through the building, only thing I'm going to do is keep making sure that I'm pulling it to the outside, because the last thing I want is to pull one through the middle and try to pull that whole loop inside. But as long as I'm here and I'm making sure that they fall to the outside, it works pretty well. You want to grab that and take off, I'll even feed it to you. See, if you walk away from it or do something goofy, it's going to fall down. But once we get 50 foot in the building, how much more do we need? Come on back. The other thing that we try to remind people of is backing back out of a building. Even any house fire that you've ever been, somebody always wants to kill the pressure before you drag the lines out and it gets hung up on everything. Leave your lines charged until they come all the way out the building, because if you just take that nozzle and turn it around backwards and leave the line charged, it'll all fall out. Where we typically kill the pressure, and now it gets hung up on everything in the world trying to drag it back out of the house. So, does that make sense? You think of some apartments where that could come in handy? So, you alright, killed it? Good. Come up here, lay it down just like you did. Just a reminder, whenever you put it together, think about how it's going to go on your shoulder when you put those straps on. Just so your straps are always going to end up on the upside. They're easy to get to. So find your middle, 3 ears right, and grab the ones in between them, run the opposite way with it. Whoever's going to go get this. You know how you do the same thing, you just put in the end of this ear. Isn't that the one that hose strap. This is a wooden seal. Well, now, just think. If my pickets are wide enough apart,
Good. There.
yeah, then my pinch point's lower.
Yeah.
So up to you.
I shouldn't do that with it too.
It won't fit.
Engine 48 shift. Hook it up. I think I'll put it on there.
Do some wrist curls.
I get plenty of four.
Yeah, I'm not looking at it. I'm looking at this one. Then I start looking at you and then he got it.
Good.
Yeah.
Wrap it and hang it. That the right way? Closed up here. Closed up here.
14 ladder, 747 McConnell Center Road, be responding to
You got it right.
3, given as a general fire alarm,
Then lower that back out.
zone activated 5 from. Be on back 14.
So let's get you. And then just pull that back so you get your loop back. And the only thing that's different this time, nozzle stays where it was. He's still got control of the nozzle. That's his thing. Whoever's down here at the end, whether this comes up over top of the rail or underneath, just put a hand on this so that it doesn't kick that off. That's all I'm doing, is basically just sitting here while I'm masking up and watching. Once water starts coming, I put my hand on it enough that it doesn't kick that off. The reason we show like going low is all your apartments have the nice heavy duty metal industrial strength handrails, right? No, you got some that's got some wood stuff on it that you wouldn't want to lean up against. So if you get there and you can do it, take your foot and kick out one of these pickets. That makes it a little bit wider opening. And if you're gonna pull a 2.5 up, know that it ain't coming through some of these things. So it's just all in relation to what I got to work with. If I stay low, it resists kinks. If I come up over the top of it, it's fine. Only thing I gotta remember is go left or go right and make an arc. And if I bring it sideways, it'll make it nice and smooth. So if you don't mind, you run down there and charge it right quick. And somebody get the nozzle and somebody get
We're gonna go real slow at first and talk about what we're doing anyway, and kind of walk through it so everybody, and we'll all just kind of walk together and talk about some things as we go. Then we'll charge it and we'll go from there. A few of the things that we're seeing a lot of people doing is when they pull the shoulder load part off. So when you grab the nozzle and you pull that, as soon as they get to here with the nozzle and the folds, they walk away from the truck and you end up with 5 feet of hose behind you, and you're trying to control that whole shoulder load with about a foot of it sitting on your shoulder. Does that make sense? So in other words, it's difficult to do. So you got to get enough of it off to where you can center the load on your shoulder. Your nozzle, as long as it's tucked in like it is, shouldn't hang too low. It's going to be mid-thigh, which is about where you want it. Once you get it on your shoulder, step away from the truck, let everything come out before you turn back to get your ear. Then we're going to walk. Some other things we've seen in the past is if your target area is that door over there because that building's on fire, people come off the truck and they walk that way, and I don't know why anybody does that. Come off and go to where your target is. you know you need, once you're prepared to drop your shoulder load, you need about 25 feet. So if I can find a distance of 25 feet to be able to deploy it in that method using the accordion forward, then I'm going to go a little bit left and try to get lined up with my door to where my working length is going straight in. Does that make sense? And again, we'll walk through it kind of slow. So for now, make sure you get it out, you keep it clean, as clean as you can, and get it about halfway on your shoulder, and then we'll go from there. So let's pull this one first. Working. That's not too bad. Before you pull the rest of it,
Yes, sir.
see where this coupling ended up here? That's going to be what you grab with your left hand when we get ready to deploy. If it ends up when you're loading hose somewhere back here, then you would put a shorter fold or a little short fold, like a 4 or 5 inch fold here, just to identify where that coupling's at, so he knows where to grab when he gets ready to drop. Go ahead and grab your, hit to your left just a little bit. Boom. So now the next thing you would do is take your left hand, grab your coupling, right hand goes down to your nozzle, and then you just let everything fall off. You got to make sure you do it in that order. So, hey, well, stop. Yes, sir. All right, hold on. The problem with what you're doing is if there's a power line down or there's a victim over here, you can't see it because you're looking at hose. Okay. Right? Yes, so turn around and look at what could hurt you and go that way. Good. A lot of people are doing that too. They're walking backwards into a building that's on fire. That's not. Now I know here we're just training and it's looking to see how it comes off. Right. But it's just bad habit. Yes, I always get used to. I want to see where I'm going. I don't know how this stuff, because it's not very good hose. We'll see how. Leave that kink in there if you don't mind, Cap. Sean. Hey, thank you. Who's driving? You. When you charge this, throttle it up to about 100 psi on your main gauge. Don't try to pull your handle off the side of the truck, but it's a nice steady pull. Make sense? So don't make it so violent, but get it open. All right. Go ahead and do that, and then come back over here with us. my driver was good.
Yes, sir.
This hose is crap, so it's kind of hard to demonstrate what it should be doing. New hose, when you charge it still kind of soft.
Yes, sir.
It's running it up to get that pressure built and open it. Don't jerk it, but it should be a nice solid movement. Okay, that would have helped some. This old hose is so delaminated and it's just crap. So yeah, to help blow the kinks out. Some things you can do, we couldn't even do it with the nozzle, but typically with the new hose everybody's got, when you get to this point, you'll let it flow for a minute and slam it shut, it'll move your hose around enough to blow out any kinks. This stuff is just kind of hard to demonstrate some of this, and it's what you got out here, you know, that's what to do. Some things you can do, if you're building a line, so you got an apartment complex or a house that sits off the road a ways and you're having to add to this or add to a 2.5. So now we're waiting for somebody to build pressure on the truck. While you're waiting for them, you got to have water moving. So instead of just sitting here and not doing anything, go ahead and clamp the hose, let go of it, start masking up. Now he can be building pressure, or whoever's driving can be building pressure while you're getting ready to go inside. When you see that you have a good stream, shut it back off, and hopefully at that point you might save 15, 20, 30 seconds, but it gets you inside a little bit quicker, which could be important if somebody's in there. Make sense? What else, Pedro?
Turning the bell.
Yeah.
Some stuff.
And once you get to the point where you're ready to go in, most people, especially if you're right-handed, you're going in like so. If you'll turn this bell to the left, your control it's going to be a lot better. And if you got to cross your hand over here somewhere to get to it, does that make sense? So it's just keeping everything in motion. It's just all natural motion. I'm going to go to the bundles. All right, another option is if you have a short setback, so your house is sitting right on the street, you come off the truck, and you don't have room to walk it in, you can't find that 25 feet, then you can take your shoulder bundle and just lay it all down at one time and build a coil prop. I'll take the nozzle, get it out of the way, and I take that bottom fold, pull that one to my knee, top fold in my hand. So every other fold is coming up. You just got to make sure if you start with the top, you stick with the top. You stand up, you got your loop. All right. Same thing would work, like I said, if you got an apartment with an 8-foot landing or something with the doors on either side, it just gives you another option. A lot of houses, if you got to go around car, whatever, if you just have that, if you don't have the ability to lay it as you go, it gives you another option with this load. Somebody jump over that. Now you step, it don't matter either way. Step through it. You're stepping through just to get the weight on the top side. Go ahead and lay that. So now your nozzle end, on the first end to come off, it's going to be on the top. Good, shut it. The nozzle's always laying here, so if you lay it off, this is what it's going to look like here. Yeah, lay that out of the way. First fold comes to you. Yeah, I would leave it on the ground. Just pull it to you. Second one goes in the arm. And I would look, see what you can maybe do? Look right here. If you go that way with it, see how you put that kink in there? Come this way with it. Make sense? So when you pick it up, lay it like so. And turn. There you go. Y'all see what he's getting ready to have it? It's not that you can't get it out, but just add the step. There you go, now stand up. Just step through it. Now don't throw it on your shoulder. Walk right through it and lay it right back down. Now the reason you step through it and lay it down is to get the nozzle side on top. Because if you don't step through and lay it down, then the nozzle's on the bottom, and you can't advance the hose, it's too heavy. So you want this stuff on top every time. Go ahead and charge it. Oh, I'm sorry, that's my nozzle. Go ahead and open it up. It'll make it better if you open it. There you go. Now slam it. Looks good. Clean it off.